All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, Champions League prediction, I guess, if you want to call it that. Now, I'm currently in the middle of eating. Well, not middle of eating. I'm at the beginning of eating, but I'm not gonna let the food get cold. So, this will be kind of an unprofessional video. But I'm talking about the Champions League draw, so who cares, really? Now, I'm gonna start with the team that personally I want us to face, and that's Barcelona. Obviously, we came in first in our group. I want to face Barcelona. That's the team that personally I would most likely like to face. And the reason for that is very, very simple. I want to face Barcelona because this is probably Messi's last season at Barcelona. Now, granted, I don't think we're going to win as big as we did, in the previous seasons. But, well, not seasons and previous season where we won, 8-2. But the reason I want to play against Barcelona is that, again, it's Messi's final season. They're not as good, which, but out of all the teams that we could possibly face, they're probably the best one. Now, maybe not in form. They won today 1-0. Honestly, to be quite frank, Messi was awful. The whole team was awful. But obviously, when you think of Barcelona, the first person that comes to mind is Messi. And Messi was awful. But the thing also is that Messi also scored. Messi was awful, but he also scored. And that's just kind of the nature with Messi. Like, Messi can have a terrible game, but he'll still score because, he's Messi. And he was walking the whole day, basically didn't care. Basically, you could see on his face that he didn't want to be there, walking, doing absolutely nothing. But, he received one good pass. He was in one good area. The one time that he actually looked like he was making a run, and you know what? He scores. So, you really just got to look at it and be like, yeah, you know what? It's Messi. it's Messi. So, my whole thing is this. I want to face Barcelona, Messi last season. The way he was walking today as well, really showed me that this is going to be his last season at Barcelona. He looks like someone that's forced to be there, and that's basically what happened with him, that he's forced to be there. So you give me Messi, you give me Barcelona, you give me Messi. No, you give me Barcelona, and even in our current form, I'd still fancy our chances against them. That's my opinion on them. Next up, Real Madrid, who also came first in their group. I'd want them to face... Good question. I would want Real Madrid to face... I think what would make an interesting game would be them against Leipzig. Yeah, I think that would make it a very interesting game. Now, I personally favour Leipzig. Real Madrid... Obviously, in the last Champions League game, they looked very, very strong against Gladbach. They looked very, very strong. But I feel like that's also a bit of Gladbach's naivety coming to show. And I feel like a team like Leipzig, who on paper should be beating Real Madrid. I know on paper, how am I saying that? How should Leipzig be beating Real Madrid? Real Madrid have not been good this season at all. Like, they've actually been atrocious this season. And Leipzig on form this season should really be winning against Real Madrid 2-0 home, 2-1 away. Or 2-0 home, draw 1-1 away. But because Real Madrid are that kind of team that, can somehow get a victory, even when they're not playing good. I call it like the Champions League heritage factor. Where, like, because they're such an experienced side in the Champions League with winning Champions League trophies, so on and so forth, they're really a team that can, like, snatch a victory from the jaws of defeat. And when you're going up against a team like that, you really have to question. You really have to go above and beyond being the underdog. And I feel like Leipzig, considering what they did last season, I feel like they have a little bit of Champions League experience right now. Many people are expecting them to do really, really well in the Champions League. I feel like, many people, including myself, I think, the quarters, depending on who they get. But I'd love to see them go up against Real Madrid. I think on paper they should be winning, but because Real Madrid is such an experienced side, I think that would make the game very, very interesting. So for me personally, Real Madrid versus Leipzig would make a very, very fascinating game. Next up, Manchester City. Manchester City, what would be interesting? A Manchester City versus Atletico Madrid game. Manchester City have not been firing at all this season. De Bruyne has looked a shadow of his former self. Mahrez has probably been the best player this season. he's probably been like the only player that's played good this season, honestly. And against Atletico Madrid, a team that is currently first, granted in the La Liga, but attacking wise just don't offer anything. I feel like that would be a nice battle between like a team that is not really scoring goals this season versus a team that doesn't concede goals but also isn't really scoring goals this season. So that's kind of what I would like to go up against. Like, two teams that are quite defensive in nature. Manchester City not so much because they're trying to be defensive, but Manchester City because they just can't score at the moment with Aguero being out, against Atletico Madrid, a team that will score 1 or 2 on the counter, but that's really it. Obviously Atletico Madrid have a fantastic player in João Felix, but yeah, it would be very interesting to see like those two go against each other, IMO. And I feel like that's pretty the matchup that I would like to see here. Next up, Liverpool. I would like to see like a Liverpool versus Porto. Porto, obviously, did they win today? I think they won today. Was it them or Benfica that won today? I'm not sure. I just saw like the result while I was like scrolling through, and I think it was either them or Benfica that won like 4-0 or 5-1 today. It was like a margin of 4, I believe. So I would love to see that. I would love to see them go up against Liverpool. Liverpool, obviously, a team that struggling. As many teams, as many teams that played in the competition in the Champions League or whatnot in last season, that played a lot of games last season and then had a very short rest. Liverpool is struggling this season, but I think like them against Porto would be a very fun, very interesting game. IMO. Chelsea. I would like to see Chelsea versus Atalanta. Atalanta, obviously, this team that surprised everyone, I guess, last season, and doing quite well this season as well. I would love to see them go up against Chelsea. Chelsea, a team that didn't do well last season, but is doing quite well this season. I feel like that kind of like that dynamic would be very, very interesting. Dortmund just fired Favre today. Who would I want to see them go up against? Sevilla. Is that the only team that can go? Yeah, based on the way I calculated, that's the only team that they can go up against. So I'd love to see them go up against Sevilla. Dortmund versus Sevilla, they're not as defensive anymore. Like they're definitely conceding a lot more goals now. But Sevilla has been a very, very, very strong team this season and last season against a Dortmund side that on their day is fantastic. When it's not their day, they are really struggling. Especially now having sacked Favre, I really would like to see how Dortmund would face against the wall that is Sevilla. Juventus versus the only thing that can happen now is Juventus versus Gladbach. So Juventus versus Gladbach, there's this whole thing of like Ronaldo, having a very good record against German teams. Obviously, historically, Juventus Italian teams are thought of as like defensive. Juventus kind of like breaks that mold. Very inexperienced manager versus Gladbach, who have been flying, but also they really should have come first in their group. But because of the lack of experience, they kind of bottled it. So like them going up against a team that is kind of known as being the bottlers in Europe, the team that has been in like countless finals but hasn't won them because they just bottle it. That's kind of what I would like to see, and it's the only thing that could happen. And then last but not least, PSG versus Lazio. PSG, Neymar looks like he rolled his ankle or broke his ankle. I'm not sure which one it is. If it's obviously broken, I don't think he'll be ready. If it's just rolled, I think he will be ready. So from that perspective, I would like to see... no, it's the only combination that's left, I guess. But PSG versus Lazio. Lazio have been okay. PSG have been poor. First they come back from such a very, very short break. Then like a majority of their squad gets COVID. Then like a bunch of players of theirs get injured, and then they come back. They get injured again. Neymar's been unlucky about it, to be honest. Like I'm thinking of Neymar here. Like short break. Neymar has COVID. When he comes back from COVID, he gets injured. He comes back from injury, gets injured again. Comes back from injury, and now he gets injured again. And it's like, bro, how unlucky can one person be? But that's the way football sometimes works, you know. PSG versus Lazio. So be it. So from my perspective, you know, you have Bayern versus Barcelona, with Bayern going through. Real Madrid versus Leipzig, with Leipzig going through. City versus Atletico Madrid, with City going through. You can probably tell I don't rate Atletico Madrid at all. They did not impress me in the games that we played against them. I know the games that I've watched them play in La Liga, they've not looked that solid either. Then, what did I say? Liverpool versus Porto, I think is it? I think that's what I said. Liverpool versus Porto, with Liverpool going through. Chelsea versus... Did I say Liverpool versus Atlanta? No, Liverpool versus Porto, and then Chelsea versus Atlanta. Chelsea going through against Atlanta. Dortmund versus Sevilla. Yeah, Dortmund versus Sevilla, with Sevilla. Good one. Who would go through between Dortmund and Sevilla? I'll give it to Dortmund. With Dortmund going through, Juventus versus Gladbach, with Juventus going through, and then PSG versus Lazio, with Lazio going through. Yes, not PSG. PSG has not impressed me at all this season. Like, you know, obviously they had a very key game recently where they had to like win it or you're out of the Champions League, and that's kind of where they stepped it up. But they've still not been impressive, even with that taken into consideration. Their season this far, whenever they've come up against any opponent that can challenge them, they've looked absolutely horrendous. So that's my take. That's what I'm predicting for tomorrow. Obviously, we'll see. I'll probably be miles off, but that's kind of what I would like to see, personally. But yeah, that's all I can say, ladies and gentlemen. I will see all of you in the next one, everyone. Until then, have a nice day. Peace out. And as always, bye. Let me know what you all want. Let me know what kind of prediction you have for tomorrow's draw. Let me know. I'd be quite interested to see, and your rationale behind it as well, of course. Besides that, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you all then. Peace out and have a nice day.